Welcome everybody. We're back. Training sessions 2, the pathway to freedom, how to get clear on the life you really want. Get in here. All right, come on. We are talking about today how to overcome your personal setbacks. We know that women want to build a business, but let's not act like there's not an overcoming of life difficulties that need to happen. Okay, like I can help you out with that. So Latoya Deshawn, motivational speaker, personal coach, personal makeup artist to high profile talent. Okay, so I'm back. Thank you to the people who are here. What I'm so happy about is that it's about me showing up now, because people will be able to show up. They will show up later. So if you're here, comment, share, hit me up in the DM, send me an email, whatever it is. But I've really done a lot to prepare these lessons for you guys because I know what it is to get freedom. I'm literally recording from Accra, Ghana. So if you guys hear the roosters going, just know I'm in Accra, Ghana, and that's just what happens. But this is one of the things I set out when I got clear on the life that I wanted to live, and I wanted to live out of the country. So I'm walking you guys through that process of what happened to me. I told my story a little bit. I'll tell a little bit more of it today. There are videos that you can look back on to see about my story, but I'm basically going from that story, giving you my past experience, and walking you through the process of what I did to get to freedom, okay? So if you're with me, grab your notebook, okay? I'm creating all of these materials. Remember, she's structuring her second business right now. So it's not all fancy, but I'm here. One thing I did show up with is this makeup because I've been doing that for 15 years. So we have mastered our craft here. And so I'm taking the same skills that I've used working with high profile talent in makeup and using that to go and build this second business all over the world. So welcome everybody. Today's lesson: how to overcome your personal setbacks and your challenges, right? Remember, I help a lot of people, but this is always geared towards women, and Black women. So I'm going to always be speaking to Black women, but everybody can learn from learning what Black women have went through and what we have endured, and why when we free Black women, we free the entire world. That's just what I think, okay? So again, I'm a Black woman, and we know that there are at least, I'm going to tell you if you don't know, but there are 2 million Black-owned businesses in the United States of America. So that is a nice percentage. It's not that big, but it's a nice percentage of Black people saying, hey, I'm choosing entrepreneurship. So we know that they are doing that. We're also going to get motorcycles today, you guys, because we're in Accra, Ghana, and a lot of people have motorcycles. I might close the window if it's too much. And so there are 2 million Black-owned businesses in the United States, and women make up 46% of that. So there's a huge influx of women saying, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, right? Let's go a little bit deeper. So out of that 46%, which is roughly 920,000 women, we have 22%, right? 22% of Black business owners being millennials, like myself. I'm going to go ahead and close this window because I know it's going to be a problem. Let me go ahead and close that one. All right, we're here, and it's better now. So, and then that 22% is 202,000, right? 100,000, however you say it, right? Of Black women business owners are millennials like myself. So in that age group. So when we talk about why I'm getting up here and showing up so hard is because there is an influx of women going into entrepreneurship, and particularly millennials. So me being in entrepreneurship since, when did I start? I want to say 98. So when I was 14, I had my first job. And so that's 14, 24, 34. That's actually longer than, I say about 22, 23 years in entrepreneurship, because I really have not collected many W-2s. They've all been 1090s. Okay, self-employed entrepreneur. They're millennials. They want to have businesses. It's happening. But also some of the challenges is that, they're suffering from, lack of funds. That's always going to be the first thing. How do we get the money? We Black, we want to do this new thing. Where does the money come from? And then, beyond that, you're dealing with self-doubt and fear, a lack of confidence. I'm doing something that people before me haven't really done. How do I have the confidence to know that I can do this thing that no one has done before me, right? And that's that. I want to shout out She Ain't Vegan. Everybody go to She Ain't Vegan Instagram. That's my lemonade company. Okay, slaying and lemonade all over LA. And trust me, there's more to come. Let me just give a little. That's a little plug there. And so, along with just self-doubt and fear, which is understandable, right? We don't know, so we don't know what to do. Networks and connections. We're not finding the people that we need to find so that we can get the information that we need. And of course, if you keep on going with the challenges, it would be information, education, the knowledge necessary to run a business, and then mentors who provide guidance. So really, if you had all those people, if you started from the ground up and you started with mentors who provide guidance, right, you would very much at the top, which is the main concern for people, funds to start up and grow a business would be taken care of. So hence why I'm here as your personal coach and mentor today to help you get where you want to go, because not only do you want to get funds for your business, you want funds for your life. And I help you achieve those personal and professional goals. All right. Hey, D. Glad you're here. So let's talk about also, before we get into the lesson, this is a part of the lesson because education, right? Education is power. I'm here to give you that information so that you can understand the choices you make, right? How you're showing up. And so a lot of times for Black women, we are suffering from strong Black woman, superwoman characteristics. And some of those is, suffering from high functioning anxiety and depression. And I would say that a lot of that is also loneliness. We don't really ask for help, and we certainly suppress our feelings and don't really let people know to the depths of how much we are suffering and that we need help. Those are some of the mental disparities. Some of the physical disparities is like you see women gaining weight. You see them having women's problems. I know I suffer from lipoma. I also suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. I had lipoma. I got the myomectomy. So, it's not only mental, it's physical. So when we say why people want to start a business, we know how many are doing it. We know what they lack, but also this is the why they are doing it. So that is why I'm here, because when you hear my story, and you should have heard it, go back. I'm going to tell you a little bit, but pretty much I passed out at a club in 2018 and I had to get my life fully together. Okay. That's when I had to really collide with the fact that my toxic family relationships were a piece of shit. My chronic health was just not good. Man, I had a whole man in LA 5 years off and on. Didn't realize this man was my caretaker. And then I had an oppressive work career. It wasn't until about a few years ago that Toya got it together and got her career where she wanted it to go, to actually work with the celebrities that I said I wanted to do back in 2013. So that's just it, because it's time to teach today. Go back and watch some other videos. But I will tell you that since 19 years old, I knew I was going to have this business. When I first went to China, when I was in college and I had a study abroad experience, I wanted to help students. I always just wanted to be a resource to people. Whatever I knew, I wanted to be like the plug. Like, I didn't mind giving it out. I knew I was a hustler. I was curious. I did not care. And so I wanted to help kids. I knew how to do the system, help them get into college, get the scholarship for free, go ahead and study abroad, build up their resume. So when they get out of school, they get a lot of brand authority. Because I'm just that girl. So I was always like, well, you need to get your life together. Whether it was family members, friends, or whatever. So I've been that girl. I've just decided and since 19 years old, been formalizing this business. And really about 4 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, walked myself in real purpose and knew what I was going to do for the rest of my life. Okay, I got clear. And then from there, I created this business that I have now. And so I help other people do it as well. Okay, point blank, period. So I told you why. But all that sums up to is like women want freedom, right? That we've been serving everyone, yet being served the least, not anymore. And people don't want that. I'm going to have to move again because there's a dog here. And that dog just literally does not know how to shut up. And I want to keep on teaching the lesson because that's a huge distraction. So let me just go ahead and sit this down right here because I want to finish. This is okay. All right. So we want freedom. You've been serving everyone, yet being served the least, not anymore. And that's why people like me are here to help you navigate entrepreneurship as your gateway to free, is your pathway to freedom. So if you want to get clear, right, you need to have clarity. So everybody get your notebooks out. The lesson is starting. You want to get clarity. So as I told you guys before, and I'm going to continue to say it every time because that is how you get clear, repetition. One of them is that it's going to drive us in the direction that we know we need to go when we have the clarity that we need in our lives, okay? It's going to allow us to get on our path, our journey, and align our skills and our strength with our purpose on earth. So when people say they really want a business, they want to serve, they want to help people, essentially that's what you want to do. So why not get clear about where you want to go? Right. And so just as that clarity impacts your life in a great way, what clarity is not is it's not ambiguous. You know, it's not left up to too many interpretation. No, it's clearly focused, outcome focused, a clear path. OK, so a lot of people are operating in ambiguity and not really following the desires of their heart. Hold on, let me see if the dog's still barking. OK, the makeup is sitting though. Guys. All right, so let me go ahead and go back in the other room because look, this is just what it is when you're in another country, and you can let things like this get in your way from being successful, or you can just keep on going because people will understand and they're there for the knowledge, and I prepare for that at the very least. The dog is gone. So yeah, it's not ambiguous, it's not inexact, it is exact. Okay, so a lot of people may not want to get clear on that because they're going to have to interrupt with a lot of their life and what they've been doing, and they don't want to really get real about the life they've been living. So we talked about a lot of that yesterday, and so we talked about when you talk about your past experiences, what does it lend itself to your personal setbacks? But also, let's just be real. We also have personal achievements. We've also achieved things, and that should be counted for as well, too. But I find that, because people don't want to recount the bad, they don't want to look at the good. And so the homework I gave you last night was to recount your personal setbacks and your personal accomplishments in life. And so hopefully you guys did that. And so some of the questions that I would challenge you to ask yourself is, what consistency showed up for you? What did you notice in your story that was something that you found that you did that since you were a kid? Again, leadership has been one for me. Take charge, being direct, being courageous has just been things that have shown up for me. And then what does the emotional journey look like? So again, when we talk and when we get into that mode and we get into our groove, we can feel out the emotions of what was happening around that time and be able to say, what was the emotional journey while we were navigating, looking at our personal setbacks. It's obvious that this dog is going to keep on barking. And I just don't even know who's outside. So that their dog is stupid. I literally got into it with the woman last week. Like, literally, the dog is stupid. Because their owners are stupid. Okay. And so, did anything tie into your desire for freedom and entrepreneurship? So when you looked at your personal setbacks and your personal achievements, does any of it line up to with you wanting to with whatever your goals are in your life that you want to achieve, right? Those are just some of the things that hopefully came up for you that you were thinking about this assignment. And so what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to first start talking about, is self-awareness. So a lot of times people don't want to be self-aware. I call this truth and accountability. Trevor Noah says something like, you can't have reconciliation without truth and accountability. And I strongly believe in that. 2 years ago, I made that a tagline, bringing truth and accountability to leadership and to life, because what truth is basically being honest, and what accountability is self-awareness. Okay. And people just don't want to be self-aware about stuff. They want to really go out here and operate like they're wearing glasses and no one can see them. And meanwhile, what it is that they don't want to see themselves. No, we all see you. And so if you want to do entrepreneurship, a lot of times, like, you're half-assing it because you're not willing to do the work to, like, move past your stuff to get where you need to go. Trust me, you already have challenges. Let's not let personal setbacks be one of them. Okay. So when we talked about that, and being aware of what your setbacks are, it's going to impact you as you're making better decisions for yourself. Okay. Personal achievements are going to wrap it up in a bow as to, like, who this person you are and, like, where your skills and your talents lie. But that's another conversation later on. But right now, it's just good to be self-aware of all the things that you've achieved. So again, I started at 6 years old when I had a spelling bee first grade. I still remember the word I lost too. I remember being devastated and being in the car crying. And so when I looked at my past experiences, that was one that was meaningful to me. And so what shows up for you? I hope that it was a great assignment and some new things were enlightened for you. Okay. So now that you got self-awareness, right? Because when I was going through my journey and I had to become aware and get out of my stuff, I was just like, well, damn, I got a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of issues, I got to do something about this. I'm not in control. Remember, I passed out at a club and I get the fibroids. So I'm in pain. I'm tilted over. I'm not in control. And then I have this job that's like strenuous and unpredictable. And so that's a lot to think about. So when you think about mentally, what is that doing to me? Like, that ain't good. This is what's going on in the lives of a lot of Black women who exist in these challenges, right? These obstacles during life. But again, what are you going to do about it now that you get the self-awareness? So how will you address like your attitudes, your behaviors, and your past experiences that kept you from the things that you really want in life? What are we going to do about it? Because now self-awareness is the gift and the key to life, okay? And so this is what all people always talk about. So I'm not about to give you nothing that's new, but I'm going to just give you my perspective, and that's mindset, right? We're about to talk about mindset right now because you know that entrepreneurs are certain kind of people, and you know that it's a certain kind of mindset. You know this. You're not here because you don't know that. So, but we're going to talk about my process and how do you move past that, okay? She ain't vegan. Go on Instagram. And so what is mindset? It's an established set of attitudes held by someone, right? So we know people have a certain attitude. Remember, even when you were a kid, like, oh, she has a nasty attitude, or she gets 12, 14. She still got a nasty attitude. So what we also are going to collide with is what is that when it keeps on happening, like, and how does that infiltrate us in terms of our daily lives? And so when we look at mindset and how it affects our attitudes, how does it also affect our performance? And so I want to look at performance of people who have a growth mindset, people who have a negative mindset, because again, I work with high profile people. To me, those are some of the high achievers. I also work with athletes because they are the highest of achievers. And so we look at them in the growth mindset. But again, I'm here because we want to be self-aware about the mindset that goes in the opposite direction. So people who have a growth mindset respond differently in challenging situations and do better in life over time. So again, having growth, being outcome focused, having clarity, having a vision on your life is going to allow you to do better in life over time. Ain't it crazy how like all you got to do really is just sit down and just get clear on it? That's all you got to do is sit down and get clear, and it is going to help you do better in life over time. So that's what I love about that. And so let's talk about though what it does negatively. Negatively, let's just get right to it. I just want to let's just talk it out, right? Let's not backtrack. You don't feel loved. You're missing out on something. You're out here doing this business and operating off of a trauma response. We'll talk about that in a little bit. You don't feel like you're in control of your own life, and you demand other people's love and respect for you, and therefore the way it comes out, it's negative. It doesn't lead people to want to help you. You're not enhanced personally and professionally, and this is going to lead to why you're suffering and why you're lonely. Okay, it's kind of like you just not being in control, and you needing to find some control within yourself. And man, let's just call that a pulling a Will Smith, okay? Because we've seen how it can be when you are not in control and how that affects your overall performance, right? It ain't just going to cut you in your career. It's going to cut you in your personal life, okay? If anybody's here with me, say you with me. I love this. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really love teaching. And this is literally what I did to change my life. And God said, hey, you're going to have a whole business doing it. So I'm just submitting, I'm showing up, and that's what it is. So let me know. I appreciate all the encouragement. Now, let's talk about, we talked about the growth mindset. We talk about a negative mindset. Growth mindset, people are outcome focused, right? They don't let things get in their way. They don't let things bother them. They're not responding to life in a negative way, right? People in the negative, right, are going to pull a Will Smith. They're going to like just act out and not think rash about their decisions. And so you want to make sure that you, when you're up against decision making or obstacles, personal setbacks. He is riding like a rough rider. I can't. When you are doing that, you want to make sure that you are really making better decisions with your personal setbacks, right? And so I am going to help you do that. And so I see this question right here. I really like this. So we'll take a moment because I'm here for this. How do you overcome imposter syndrome? Okay, so what I talked about earlier, and you can look back at this replay and please let me know what you think of it, is when we are looking at the challenges that people face when they are doing entrepreneurship. I named a few things that could be happening. So let me just go ahead and restate that so that you can know and feel good about how you can go about your next steps. But I started off by saying that it's usually lack of funds, lack of money, and you struggle to grow your business. And then also, again, imposter syndrome, self-doubt, you have fear. It's hard to connect with different networks, so you're not knowing the people that can help get you to where you need to go. Also, education, a lack of knowledge necessary for running a business. And then the last one is mentors who provide guidance. So I told people that if we actually took this list and went backwards, if we did what I said last, then we'll be able to get the things that we want, which is the money, which is what people want. That's a big part of freedom. And then the second thing, self-doubt and fear. And I'll also put that in the imposter syndrome category, that you will feel more confident about yourself. So to answer your question, you showing up right now and getting educated and deciding to say, hey, I'm going to tap into how I can overcome through getting the education, through looking at LaToya's, through her experience, her 22-year experience of being an entrepreneur. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to take something from it and I'm going to follow through with it. Okay. So I hope that helps you out, but you are in the right place. The live that I did yesterday, I did give homework there. So there's homework if you want to do that. And then there'll be homework today. So how do you overcome it? You are in the right place. Just stay here, submit to this process, and don't give up on yourself. Okay. Just an extra shout out for you guys. You click a link in the bio. I do have an e-workbook that's going to help you get clear on your goals and get the life that you want. So hopefully that helps. Thank you for that question. Feel free to ask more. I look forward to more people chiming in and providing their, helping me navigate, helping you get from point A to point B, point A, B to C, C to D, all that good stuff. Okay. All right. So along with how do you overcome imposter syndrome, right? How do we overcome our personal setbacks? I always say, we talk, mindset mastery is vital to success. So if we're talking about this is about mindset, then we need to get mastered in our mindset. So we know that, well, I'm not going to assume that you guys know. I've been obsessed about this business and getting where I need to get. But they say you need to get 10,000 hours to be a master at your craft. So you probably need to get your 10,000 hours in and getting a mastering your mindset. Let's just keep it real. So I think it's vital to success. And so one of the things that I did when I was growing my business, just to let you guys know on the back end, is that, when God commanded me, he said, you're going to be speaking, you're going to be teaching on stages. And he didn't necessarily say like what it was all going to be for my life, but he told me to submit. And that was one of the things that I did. And so I started watching sermons like weekly. There was a certain pastor that I would just watch via YouTube, and I would watch every week. And then along with that, I was watching other programs. So I started to watch Iyanla Fix My Life. And I watched Iyanla Fix My Life, and I could not believe what I was watching in that show. I was just like, damn, like there's a show like this that exists. She actually dealing with these crazy families, like that. So I couldn't believe she did this kind of work because I was struggling as well with my difficulties. So I'm going to have to move again because, of course, the dog is barking and they don't have any control over it. Thank you guys for being so patient. Thank you for being so patient. Let me go ahead and just sit this right here because I do have my notes. You want to interrupt the pattern, okay? So in interrupting the pattern, she would always say that, and I would just be like, what is she talking about? Like, what does that all mean? And so when I kept watching because I was so into it, I needed tools and strategies. I was getting therapy, I was reading books, but again, I was so dedicated to transforming my life and getting to the desires of my heart. I really tapped into everything around me to use as a resource. And so I began to see what she talked about in terms of interrupting the pattern. I remember she kept on saying the word pathology, and I was just like, let me look up this word. And pathology meant disease. And I said, this lady is in people's faces telling them they got diseases, and they don't even know it. And so, as again, like, I love that I remain curious about a lot of things. But she said interrupt the pattern, and like, I saw the tools and the strategies that she had used. And it was some of the same tools and strategies that I would use to get myself out of my stuff and move me towards freedom. And then that's when I came up with like this first principle. I had the first principle before, but it all wrapped itself up in a bow to pretty much be, you must decide. You need to try another way. You need to believe that you deserve the desires of your heart. You need to be willing to trust yourself and all of that. And so through that process, through her tools and strategies, she was able to do that. So we want to interrupt the pattern. Let's just talk about it. What is a pattern? Now we're here because now we're talking about the next steps. We're leading ourselves into the next assignment. So we know that mindset mastery is where we need to go to be able to get to the freedom, and we need to interrupt the pattern. So the patterns is any sort of process that's lead to a certain outcome. Okay. And we know that you've been talking about your past experiences. You've been looking at personal setbacks and challenges. And so we are going to look at any sort of process that leads to a certain outcome for you. So patterns can have 1 step, 2 step, 3 steps. It could just be things you do all the time. It's a pattern. So here's an example of a pattern, right? Like when I was a kid, our house, when Jehovah's Witnesses would come, we would never answer the door. So our pattern would be, we would go to the door, we would like look and peek, and if they were there, we would act like we weren't there, and we wouldn't answer the door. And so that is what we did. So the first few times, we had to establish like how best to do it to make sure that like they didn't know we were there. So we wouldn't look through the peephole, we would look through the window, and so we got it right. So we established this pattern of when they do this, then we do this. And so, sometimes it's necessary for some things, and sometimes they're detrimental to our success. So we want to get over the hump of personal setbacks. So we want to look at the patterns that have held us back and interrupt it so that we can get to where we want to go. Okay. And so, but let's also talk about why we create them, because with everything, there's a reason for the season. And part of the reason why I'm teaching you is so that you don't feel bad about the life that you've lived, about your past experiences. Like, what stuff happens, it's not your fault. But what you want to do is be self-aware of it so you can now get in front of it, so that now you can work on purpose and move with an intention. I mean, why not? I'm sure you want that for yourself. And so that's why patterns exist. You create patterns because you want to make your life easier, right? So even if it's something that has not been great in your life, it has made your life easier because you have expected the results, right? If it's something that has worked in the past for you maybe to protect you, that has given you favorable results, you'll keep on doing the pattern. I'll tell you one thing in makeup. I would have people buy makeup or skincare that wouldn't really do anything. And I would tell them, like, you can keep buying it. It's not going to help you. It's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to help you. And so since it's something that, quote unquote, worked in the past, they would buy it again, even though it was a useless product to me. Other times you would have people who would buy products that would hurt them, and they would still be using it because they were comfortable. They knew what the results were, and they swore that maybe they would move past that and it would get better. But no, you got exactly what you got, and so that's another example of how people get into patterns. And in the last one, you can do a skincare routine, okay? You can get it together and get your routine together, and then you can get amazing results like this. So pretty much it's just a pattern that makes our life easier. It tells us that we're comfortable doing it again. Just like this hairstyle. I'm going to do it again. So our patterns work in our favor. They always have. But what I want you to think about is trying another way, right? You want something different, you're going to have to do something different. So it's time to collide with what you need to do to get where you want to go. You're looking at your past, you're seeing what set you back, right? You've seen the devastating results. We talked about the devastating results, right? Your depression, your anxiety, you're suffering. You're serving everyone, you're overwhelmed. You know, you're not getting paid what you want to get paid. There's a lot of things happening, and we need to interrupt this pattern, okay? So, because some patterns have devastating results. And I know for me, what I'm thankful for is to not have permanent mistakes. But what I know is that in addressing my patterns, I'm reestablishing and recommitting to the life that I know that I deserve. You know, that's what this is for me. That's the work that I do. That's what I realized what God wanted me to do. Right? When I wanted kids at 19 years old to get into college and to have a chance and to build up their brand authority, I wanted them to commit to a life they deserved. And if you want to do that, you got to interrupt the pattern. You got to be willing to try another way. This is the pathway to freedom, you guys. It's the only way I did it. If you guys heard my story, you know I had to do different things. I had to read books. I had to work out. You know, I had to do the therapy. You know, I had to, even when I cried and was sad about things, I had a way in which I had to do that. Because what I was doing before, right, the pattern of when I got a bill and it was expensive and I would just go call a friend. This was my pattern. Call a friend, complain about it, relive it, traumatize myself. Still didn't have a solution, but God still showed up for years. Until I realized why keep working on the back end of life when you can work on the front end of life. And that is what I discovered when I decided to believe in myself, to be honest, call thing a thing, but be willing to try another way. Okay? I just want to recap what we've talked about because we are about to give you guys your assignment for today. Again, I'm helping you guys get clear on the life you really want to live and help you grow your businesses. But we know that we overcome difficulties. We Black. It ain't gonna never be easy for us. We will always be resilient. And so we shouldn't have to keep saying things like, oh, we shouldn't be resilient. We are. We are born in America. We are resilient. Get in tune with it because there's still a way to make it so that you're not serving everyone, yet being served the least. Okay? We talked about statistics, how many Black women business owners are here. There are a lot. 2 million women, 22% of that being millennial women. 46%, 2 million Black people of color, Black people being entrepreneurs, with 46% being women, and 22% of those women being millennials. We talked about some of the challenges that they face, that we face with regards to growing our businesses, and some of the mental disparities that happen because we are strong women out here. So yeah, this is why I'm here. You guys know that if you're a Black woman, millennial, you fall in one of these categories of certainly struggling in this area. So we talked a little bit about that. Hopefully you know that you can still choose freedom. Freedom is still offered for you. But we also, again, talked about clarity and what it is and what it ain't. We did a recap of the personal setbacks and achievements. I wanted to know what you wrote and gave you some questions to reflect on as you did that assignment. Hopefully you did that. I'm your coach mentor. I'm only going to help you navigate through, but you got to show up for yourself, okay? You got to show up for yourself. And so that led us into the conversation around self-awareness. And when you have self-awareness, you're able to look at your behaviors and create a new a path or interrupt the pattern, right? So not only are we going to interrupt this pattern, we're going to create a new path for ourselves. So So glad that you guys are here for this. So let's go ahead and interrupt the patterns and tell me some of the things you do on a daily basis that are considered patterns for you. Tell me what are some of the events. So if it's not just daily, like, oh, I get up, I brush my teeth around this time, or I make sure I drive my car, right? Also think about events. Like, so when I go to an event, we always get the cooler. We always bring drinks as opposed to like buying stuff there. Like, like just call out some things so that you can notice what your patterns are. So call out the event and then call out the pattern. That is your first assignment there. And then the second one is, because this is all about creating a new vision, you get to interrupt the pattern. You get to try another way. You get to, say after you've interrupted the pattern, after you've noticed the pattern, go ahead and tell me what your solution would be if you tried another way. Go ahead and interrupt your pattern, okay? And then when you do that, I want you to go ahead and tell me what this means for the rest of your life, how this is going to enhance the desires of your heart, and go ahead and give me 1 or 2 sentences of what you want. Like, what are some of your goals? What do you want for the rest of your life? So that's your word. And then, write your vision based upon you looking at your patterns. And we are going to see, like, how radical, like, how adventurous, how creative, all the things that you've always been. Like, let that come out in you interrupting those past experiences and those personal setbacks. And let's get into a new zone. Let's get into a new zone. All righty. Okay, so that's your homework. We're going to be here again tomorrow doing this. Right now I have this training session going on. I'm really excited about it. And so, but I know that there are people who want more guidance beyond this. So you guys are going to click the link in my bio. I am doing this from Instagram, and you will see my ebook for 16 steps to get clear on the life you really want. Go ahead and do that. Some of the stuff is in here in terms of some of the questions, but this training is a little bit more in depth. But again, this is a great way, a workbook to help you start getting clarity on the life you want to live for the rest of your life. So go ahead and click the link in the bio. Also, there are going to be people who just want more. They're like, I like Toya's approach. I like what she's doing. The life that she's living. She's over in Ghana. She's doing her businesses. She looks good. She looks healthy. She's had quite a career. How is she doing this? I just want to get in her world. I want to pay for her services. Trust me. There's a way to work with me closer. You're going to go ahead and click the link in the bio and learn about resilience and rediscovery and get on the wait list. Go ahead and put your name and email there, because I got something coming up in a couple of weeks and I want you to know about it. I'm only dealing with people who are ready to achieve beyond their perceived capabilities. That's it. Who want to go further, faster in life, who want to be free and stop serving everyone, yet being served the least. I'm here to help you on your pathway to freedom. Okay? Click the link in the bio. For people who don't see this on Instagram, you can go ahead and go to www.patentleatherproject.com/rediscover. Go ahead and go there, www.patentleatherproject.com/rediscover, so that you too can get on the wait list and also get the e-workbook so that you can start getting clear on the life you want to live for the rest of your life and grow that service-based business. That's it. I did it. I showed up for myself. I can't wait till people see this years from now and see how I did it with the second business, okay? I am using all of my strategies come from me growing my first business in makeup and going to 6 figures. And as you see me build my business to over $1 million here, you're going to get the tools and strategies as well. We're just getting started. Patent Leather Project International is the place you want to be. You've been serving everyone, yet being served the least. Not anymore. I'll see you guys tomorrow.